Back for Bob. The last thing was, Julia's out walking dogs, and she says this: before I can really relish the moment, another annoying acquaintance of mine appears. I like this because we're basically kind of meeting some characters in the book. We just met Snickers, who is actually Mac's dog, who Julia walks, who's a white puffy poodle. Now, this next chapter is called Nut-Wit. Nut-Wit. The gray squirrel who lives in the live oak in our front lawn jumps to a lower branch, looking at me with barely concealed pity. I hate pity, especially the barely concealed kind. Pity is like when you feel bad for someone. I need a Nut-Wit voice. I don't know why you taunt her, he says. You're hardly in a position to talk, Bob. You are Snickers. Come over here to the window and say that. So you can what? Drool me to death? Are you aware that my best friend is a gorilla? I ask. You would make fantastic ape chow, dude. Nut-Wit reaches for a dangling acorn and yanks it free. I thought gorillas were vegetarians. Ivan eats termites. He might make an exception for you. Face it, Bob. You're soft. You're one step away from your own pink rain boots. He has a point, says Minnie, one of the family's guinea pigs, from her cage next to the TV. I don't know if this next character is, I don't know what voice to use. No, he doesn't, says Moo, her cage mate. Yes, he does, Minnie squeaks. Doesn't, doesn't. Wait, you tricked me. The guinea pigs rarely agree on anything. Nut-Wit leaps over to the window ledge, acorn in paw. He presses his tiny twitchy nose to the screen. You couldn't last a day out here, Bob. Some of us have to live by our wiles. Hey, I lived on the street longer than you've been alive. Nut-Wit nibbles his acorn. He's quite the pursy eater. Whatever you say, Bob. I say, scram. Fine. Hint taken. Anyway, storm's en route. I should be stocking up on my nut stash while I can. Nut-Wit gives me a wise guy look. That's how we do it in the real world. He scampers off with an acrobatic flourish, meaning he's like, da-da-da. Squirrels never do a simple jump when a quadruple backflip cartwheel is an option. You're full of it, I say to nobody in particular. We're full of it, says Minnie. Yes, we're extremely full of it, says Moo. And they popcorn in agreement. Those of you with guinea pigs know that the popcorn is they kind of like bounce up and down and make little noises. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. Oh, I should have just kept reading. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. It's called popcorning, and it's totally ridiculous. I didn't do that in the right voice. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. It's called popcorning. It's totally ridiculous. You're happy? Wag your tail like a real mammal. I'm not soft, I mutter, nosing my protruding belly. I leap with effort off the couch. With effort. Then I head to the bathroom for a good long drink from the water bowl of power. Spoiled. I know Nut-Wit has a point. I become a creature of habit, spoiled after a stretch of being my own dog. For a long time, I was Bob the Beast, cunning and streetwise. As a stray, I lived off leftovers at the mall while Snickers dined on her fancy pants kibble. Man, how I loved that cotton candy stuck to the floor. The unexpected UFOs. The ends of ketchup-covered hot dogs scattered under the bleachers like, I don't know, big toes or something. Ivan offered to share his gorilla food with me, and Stella and Ruby were always ready to pass along a carrot or an apple, but I refused. I needed to stay in shape, stay tough, stay true to my wild nature. Okay, so maybe every now and then I'd sneak a banana chunk from Evan's breakfast. But then things changed. I became civilized, domesticated, a pet. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some perks. Julia, who's an artist, painted my name on a food bowl. She gave me this wonderfully mushy blanket, the kind where you can bed boogie forever till it's squished to perfection and you can curl up just so. Remember Bed Boogie is when he gets ready to go to bed? Look at his fancy stuff. Definitely spoiled. Not the stray dog just trying to survive outside. I love that blanket, but I simply cannot sleep without Knot Tag, Ivan's raggedy old toy gorilla. Of course, just when I get my blanket and Knot Tag imprinted with the right amount of ooh de Bob, meaning the right amount of his own smell, Julia's mom does the unthinkable. Puts them in the washing machine and removes every last bit of me. there are other indignities I tolerate. The daily walk on a tug-of-war leash, after going stringless my whole life. The attempts to train me, like that'll ever happen. The kisses and cuddling. Well, the cuddling's okay, I suppose. But the kissing, I just don't get. If you want to kiss your dog, why not just give him a big ol' lick on the face and be done with it? Anyways, so what if I've gotten a little spoiled, a tad soft around the edges? That's the difference between being soft and being afraid. Being a coward. There's a difference between being soft and being afraid. Being a coward. Next chapter is called Another Confession. Too bad. I know the truth. I'm both. So he's saying he's both soft and afraid. And a coward? I'm a little confused. Next chapter is called Cricket Bully. When Julia returns from walking her charges, I race over and give her a good old Bob-style hello. Lots of yipping and twirling, followed by some attempts to jump into her arms. Humans love that stuff. Julia looks at me sternly and says, Robert, down. I lap some more because I'm determined to convince her I'm incorrigible, untrainable. It's part of my charm, my bobliness, that he won't do what she wants him to do. Down, she says again. From her coat pocket, she pulls out her little metal clicker along with some treats. I hate that clicker. It's meant to help train me, but it's like a cricket bully. Here's the theory. I do something right. Julia clicks, gives me a treat. The click tells me when I'm behaving, and the treat reinforces it. If that happens enough before your very eyes, I'm supposed to transform into a good dog. Well, I ain't that easy. Down, Bob, Julia tries again. I want a treat, but not enough to cave in, so I opt for a play bow, a compromise. Remember? Play bow. Julia sighs. You are definitely a challenging student. To my annoyance, she puts the treats back in her pocket. I think Julia may be on to me. Cricket Bully is the clicker. Some of you probably have seen these, or maybe you know about these. So you click so that the dog knows when they do something right, they hear the click, and then they get a treat, okay? But Bob's telling us he knows what's going on, and he's purposely not being trainable and not giving in, even though he does want the treat. The next chapter is called Trust. A while ago, Julia got it in her head that I needed to improve my manners. We went to a dog training class. I wasn't really into the whole sit and stay and do the tango stuff. The worst command of all, the truly inexcusable only a human could come up with that order, leave it. Leave it means, walk on by, Bob. Sure, there's a piece of bacon, just inches from your drooling pie hole, but do me a favor and just pretend it's not there, okay? Not okay. Where I come from, you never pass up a free meal. UFOs drops to the carpet, it's mine, and I'll be chowing it down before you can say, where the heck is my meatball? Within minutes, I was accused of being an under-motivated student, which is totally unfair. I am highly motivated. Just sew me some cheese, please. Anyways, I may or may not have been a little unruly, you know, class clown stuff. Tail spinning, a little random peeing, some zoomies just for show. Isn't the zoomie where he kind of just races around? Class, you see that crazy dashing around he's doing? Said the teacher, pointing at me with an accusing finger. We call that a frap. Frantic random activity, period. She pulled Julia aside. He's a smart dog, she said, but he's messing with you. Which was true, but I hated getting caught in the act. I thought I was more subtle. Bob needs to know who's boss, said the teacher. He needs to see you as pack leader. Give him some time. I see this a lot with former strays. Takes them a while to trust people. Like forever in my case. As we left the class early, I yelled, "So long, suckers!" to my classmates. Couldn't help rubbing it in just a little. But they got to leave early. This really gives giving me just a different perspective on dogs in general and like what they're thinking and what they maybe, I don't know. I'm very entertained by the way that Bob sees the world and sees humans around him. The next chapter is called My Car Thing. I suppose the real reason for the training stuff isn't my bad manners, although they leave a bit to be desired. It's my car thing. I've always had a hang-up about cars and trucks. Also ride lawnmowers, go-karts, anything with 4 wheels, an engine, and a driver. Don't like them. Don't want to ride in them. Don't want anything to do with them. Those co-pilot dogs with their heads hanging out the window, flying their drool flags. Boneheads. First of all, it ain't safe. Second of all, bad stuff can happen after you climb into a car. Take it from me. Remember how he went in a truck and then was thrown out the window? When Julia and George and Sarah realize I have transportation issues, they tried to lure me into the back seat of their car with treats. But you'd be surprised how stubborn I can be. I yelped so loud the neighbors came running out to see what was happening to the poor little doggy. Score 1 for the poor little doggy. Click. That's when they started clicker training me. Click, there's a treat. Come closer to the car, Bob. Click, there's a treat. Watch while I open the car door, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come right out to the seat, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come on in, Bob. Bob, Bob, where are you, Bob? Yeah, it was like that a lot. Options. Still haven't been in a car or a truck or a tractor for that matter. When I have to go to the rhymes with pet threat, Julia and her parents walk me there. They say elephants have long memories. Well, so do dogs, people. It's not like I'm afraid. I'm just exercising my options. He's afraid. Like the way he tries to get around it. I'm not afraid. I'm just, exercising my options. Just seeing what else we got. Full wag. Are you ready to head over to the park? George asks as he passed through the living room. He's carrying 2 flashlights and a roll of masking tape. Yep, Julia says. And I do a head tilt to show I'm intrigued by this conversation. The place where Ivan and Ruby live is called Wild World Zoological Park and Sanctuary. But everybody calls it the park. Okay, so it's not just like a down the street park. The park is where they are, the zoo, okay? George works at the park as head groundskeeper, which means I've got some sway, and everyone's who'd employed there loves Julia. Give me a minute. I just need to grab my coat, says George. Straight home after that, though, Julia, says Sarah. Just in case the weather gets worse. 1 minute the weatherman's saying we're going to have a little shower. Next minute it's the storm of the century. Julia scratches my head. I thought Hurricane Gus wasn't coming till tomorrow. Sometimes they change course, says Sarah. They can be unpredictable. George says with a wink, in the old days, they only named hurricanes after women. Julia groans. That's so sexist. Meaning, why just name a hurricane after a woman? Why don't we named after both women and men? It's not just the wind that I'm worried about on this one, George says. It's the storm surge that could be a problem. Flooding. So storm surge is when we have a hurricane or something like that, and a storm surge is basically when the level of the water rises, okay? And if the level of the water in like a river rises really quickly, it's going to cause flooding, okay? But it's not just going to cause any flooding. If that level of water rises very, very quickly, it's going to cause floods that are going to be really damaging, okay? We're not talking about the creek behind the school, okay? We're talking like very, very damaging amounts of water. And that comes at the time when there's already rain and clouds and all the stuff that comes with a hurricane, okay? Julia tries to make me wear her mom's latest creation, a knitted dog sweater with security written on it, which I suppose is an ironic reference to my petite size. I politely decline. So he's saying it's kind of funny because security and he's so small, he's like not a guard watchdog type thing. All right, you win, Julia sighs. Ready for your walk, Bob? At the mention of the word walk, I go all crazy mutt, so it's clear I'm on board with this idea. Yeah. Humans love it when we get silly. I think they're so weighed down by people problems that sometimes they need to be reminded what happy looks like. Julia attaches my string. I try for a little tug-of-war, but she refuses to buy it. Let's go see Ivan and Ruby, she says. Just hearing those names sends my tail into full wag. I'm going to stop there. I have a feeling I'm excited. We're going to meet Ivan and Ruby soon, and there's something big brewing with this storm here, too.